Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ohio State, the Voice of College Football post-game show live. A face here you're already familiar with, Mike here, who did this all last season, so I'm happy to be doing this with him now. Man, what a game, everyone! Please be sure to like, share, subscribe to the channel if you like the content. If you want to be part of the community, which we would love to have you, please be a member. You can see on the bottom here we have the Blocko Club. JT wasn't short, and of course my favorite, we don't give a damn. You know the rest. Mike, my guy, there was a lot to take away from it. I have a lot of notes and to go through. And by the way, everyone, once we're done talking, we're going to open up the lines for you to call in, give your thoughts and your opinions on what happened. And for every $100, we'll extend an hour. So this is going to be your show also. Mike, how do you feel about the spring game, bro?
Man, I loved it. I love the spring game. Love seeing some flash from certain players. Things that I was looking for. Check my box. Some things, didn't check my box. So, But to be honest, man, I enjoyed the spring game. There was no reason to not enjoy the spring game at all. And then also, when you get to see the players with their rings, plural, not one ring, rings, plural. It was amazing to see that as well. So
well, speaking about those rings, man, just recapping. I mean, not never recapping, but just going back to what those guys did last season. Can't be anything but proud of those guys. Seeing my goat Will Howard with those 3 rings, man. By the way, shout out to Tyvis Powell. I thought he did great on the sideline talking to everybody. I don't know. I saw you posted, but I don't know why he thought he was faster than Emeka.
Yeah, I was like, bro, tripping, bro. I was like, he really tripping, man. So, but yeah, shout out to Tyvis Powell and what he was doing out there, man. It's just, I think, sometimes how players are, you get around that atmosphere, you remember your time doing it, and you want to big up yourself. So that's how I looked at it as.
No, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Every time like when I call the high school games, like, cause I called my high school's games, I look on that film like, wow, torch these. But let's start with what most of us wanted to see. We've heard a lot about Lincoln Keenholz pushing Julian Sand. Let's just get down to it. And I'm one that believes you shouldn't take too much from quarterbacks in spring games. But I think we are all well aware Julian Sand is the quarterback at Ohio State, and Nico, I am Aliva, will never be in Columbus.
Yeah, I'm not sure that one thing that Ryan Day has always spoke on is the culture of the program, And one thing that he said is we're willing to pay guys, but we're not about to go, completely just out of the, ballpark. I don't think that he's going to come here. You don't want to mess up that room and the culture. And I mean, what you saw instead of, Nico taking that Tennessee team and, seeing how they got smacked in Ohio Stadium and taking that and letting it fuel you, telling the coaches, hey, let's be playing this, being that leader. That's not what I want on my team. So shout out to Ryan Day and the culture that he has built at Ohio State.
I've one of the cool things I noticed about Ryan Day today was before I talk about the quarterbacks was he didn't have the headset on today. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I was very happy he didn't have the headset. It's basically saying, hey, you ever seen the movie 300?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that they're showing the beginning of the movie when Leonidas as the small boy had to go into the wilderness and survive. That's what I felt like about Brian Hartline today.
Yeah,
and we're gonna get to him soon because I have so much to say about this. But when it comes to the quarterbacks, I thought Lincoln played pretty well actually. I didn't at first. He sailed some throws, and I don't know how you sail a throw over Jeremiah, but he did it. That was probably just some anxiety or some excitement. But I thought he played pretty well. I thought that like I said, I don't want to take too much from it, but he looked like someone who could be a capable backup. Julian, man, I saw a lot of people were upset about like the D line, specifically the D tackles, which I understand, but the D line not getting after. But I'm like, man, Julian gets that ball out. His eyes move really fast. He knows what he's seeing, and he throws the ball there, and it gets out quick. And I was really impressed by him today. Just his command of the offense. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he looked. They. I thought that him and Lincoln looked comfortable. I thought that towards the end, TSC looked more comfortable. I mean, I stopped watching at the last minute, and then you come to me, he just threw a dot. So and
Yeah.
which I was really happy to hear, and I want to what impressed you most about each quarterback today? If you had to pick one thing for each quarterback.
What impressed me was about let's start off, from TSC, Tavian St. Clair. What impressed me was the simple fact that, even though he threw a couple picks, he still went out there, took the chances, threw the balls, didn't look like his confidence was shaken. But also what impressed me was his pocket presence, his ability to feel the pocket, when to step up, and he didn't seem scared at all. Also, his ability to use his legs. I see people in the chat talking about it, and they was also talking about it in our group chat about him being, like a little Terrell Pryor 2.0 out there. And then let's go with Lincoln. I did wish Lincoln could let's say you want to say what I did like. I like that Lincoln, after he started off rough, that he went ahead and started being able to complete passes. I think that there's still some better development that he has to go through. But one thing that you can say is this is not the same Lincoln that we saw in the Mizzou game. You can see the development. You can see how he has progressed. Sam,
Yes.
what I like about Sam, man, he was able to hit his targets in a clean pocket, hitting guys in stride. Billy Fessler and stuff, they had talked about his arm strength preseason. I like the simple fact that you saw whatever they were working on, he was able to go ahead and fix. So that's one thing that I definitely like, because one thing that can tell you is this: can they go ahead and take what they are learning right now, build on that in the summer, and then apply that in the fall? If Julian's saying all the things that we heard about arm strength and getting the ball down the field, we did not see that. So if he continues to apply himself, man, I think the sky is the limit.
When I watched that offense, and again, I get it, and like my boy Darren from Darren Talks Ball, he's gonna give me some shit for this, and it's okay. But and it's just me with my own eyes, and I can simply look at the names in the offense, right? And like in the like on here, I put weapons galore. And when I say weapons, I don't even just mean the wide receivers. I don't just mean Max Clare being like, oh man, Max Clare's he's gonna be that guy. That offensive line, and I was really impressed by them today. It looks like they were in sync. They knew where their bodies had, like they knew where to put their bodies. Saraveld. I remember on the Buckeye Brigade, I thought, I think we talked about, maybe if he had taken a jump, I think he probably did. I'm very confident in this offense. We still got to see it on the field. Because at the end of the day, these defensive linemen and these linebackers aren't trying to take the quarterback's head off. I saw a few times and CJ Hicks could have done it. I saw a few times and CJ could have done it. And boy, we can talk about him too once we finish up on the offense. But I was really impressed by the offense. I thought that the wide receivers, like I want to talk about Quincy Porter here.
The future is still bright in the wide receiver room. Even though you sit here and you're like, dang, boom, we lose Chris Olave. Man, we lose Garrett Wilson. You lose Jackson Smith and Jigba. You go ahead, you lose Marv. You're losing the Mecca. And then you're like, who's going to step up? And you see you got B.I. is able to step up and what he's going to look like you were saying, Marlon Graham, Quincy Porter, those freshmen the future is still bright here at Ohio State when it comes to the wide receiver position. And I think that Ohio State will probably end up solidifying themselves as wide receiver U for years to come.
Like, speaking of Mylan Graham, a few on the last time, on the Buck Ever Gay, there was a very long argument on that show between me and our friend Ron. And I talked about what I see in Mylan Graham. I'm very bullish on him. I can't admit that. I'm very bullish on him. Forever, and I have all the reason to be. All the reason to be. Mylan Graham went out there today, I thought, and no matter who was throwing him the ball, no matter where he was, and Aaron Scott, shout out to Aaron Scott, because I thought he had some good reps on Mylan today. I do think he had good reps on Mylan. But that boy's different. That boy's different. And again, I when we talk about Mylan, I'm not bringing down anybody else, because Ennis was good today too. Don't get it twisted. But damn, what? I'm just saying.
You ain't saying nothing. They don't play the same position. You ain't saying nothing.
But that's what we were. Well, Mike. But that's what I said when we talked to the guy. I said they don't even play the same position. So for me, when I look at Mylan, man, I saw a tweet of someone saying, the 3 starters should be Mylan, Jeremiah, and Tate. No, I don't believe that. I think Brandon Ennis should be a starter, because I think Brandon Ennis is a gamer. I think Brandon Ennis knows the offense more very well, and he's very good on the inside. He also breaks. He can break anybody off. But no, I thought Mylan Graham, though, in all honesty, he looked really good today. I thought he was kind of the wide receiver that popped off the screen, even though a lot of them did.
Man, honestly, I'll say this. I think Quincy Porter popped off the screen as well. Just his body type. I heard the guys even talking about it. Like, they said that all the wide receivers already look like, they're ready to play. And you brought up Aaron Scott. I feel like Quincy Porter was out there abusing that man to the point that Aaron Scott got so upset that he took a swing at him. And Quincy Porter, he was out there, to me, looking like Hans Ward, just smiling. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you really know what's up, bro. Yeah. But again, that's what we have been talking about. A lot of people have been worrying, because Chip Kelly is gone, will the blocking and stuff be, fall off, because Chip Kelly is gone? I don't believe that. You talk about the mentality of a BI, aggressive. Yeah. We done seen JJ out there blocking, and then you see the next guys up in Quincy Porter, what they're doing. Yeah, I love it. I love what I'm seeing, man.
From the running backs, Bo Jackson. And this is something that I think I was kind of I'm late on. I'm very late on this. I didn't, a lot of people are hyping up Bo Jackson, Bo Jackson, which is one of the greatest football names of all time. And I was like, I'll wait. That kid is nice. That boy is, whoo. He has power. He has wiggle. He has speed. He has vision. I've always talked about running backs blocking. I don't think I got enough of that today to really grade what I think that looks like for those young guys. But Bo Jackson, man, Sam Williams-Dixon, he looked really good today too. I see Sam Williams-Dixon as a really athletic fullback, a really athletic undersized full. I don't. This is why I mean when I say this. Let me tell you why I think this. No, like when I say it, you're gonna get what I'm saying. He had one run to the outside where I was watching him move. I was watching him run to the outside, and it quickly hit me. He has no second gear, but he has no second gear.
Oh,
but I do believe he's a very powerful runner. So I'm joking when I say fullback, I'm being facetious here. Like, I'm just messing around here. But I was really happy to see what he looked like. Of course, the 2 stars, James Peebles. Did he really play a lot today?
No, he got in. Basically, they did what they said they were going to do. The starters out there for the most part. I guess you would think, that they were still out there because of the quarterbacks you still see in Saying and Lincoln, but no, they, Ryan Day keeps true to his word. We pulling them, and then they allowed them to be tackled and everything, from the second quarter to the fourth. So I mean, to be honest, what you saying about Bo Jackson? Anybody knows me and have been following me on the Best Damn Media Network. And, shout out my guy Q, but he used to give me a hard time when I would tell you all, we need some more Cleveland guys on this team because it's different. And I told you all, like, I mean, I have been telling you guys this for years. There's a lot of untapped potential that's just not really being seen, and it's not just at Glenville, So I'm glad that everybody is finally seeing this. I do believe that I was a Marquise Davis fan, but also a Bo Jackson fan as well. And I like the Cleveland guys. You're able to see it. To be a freshman and not have the issue of falling backwards, like this guy's always falling forward every time. When you would think that, he should be stopped, he's getting those extra 2 to 3 yards that a running back is supposed to get. And I also want to give a special shout out to Coach Locke, because to be honest, the whole entire running back room looks different.
They do.
The guys aren't just falling down from arm tackles or anything. These guys are staying up, keeping their pad level low and getting the extra yards. And I mean, you say, Sam Williams-Dixon doesn't have an extra gear. I don't care when you can get him out in the open field and he can run over a guy who's known for being a hard-hitting safety in Malik Hartford and just completely run him over like it was nobody's business. So shout out to him for, getting the third uncles out of his corner or whatever and focusing on his development, because honestly, maybe he might not be running back one, but I think that he still has a very big impact on this team and on this roster.
Another guy I want to point out was also CJ Donaldson Jr. It looks like losing that weight paid off. There was a lot of burst out of him. I thought it was. I was really happy to see that because when we got him, I was like, okay, well, let me look at some of his highlights. I wanted to see what kind of running back he was, especially at the size he had. But of course, when he got there, just like every player that comes out of the portal for Ohio State, we got to shave some of that baby fat off you. But I was really impressed by him too. Again, what Coach Locke has done with that running back room, and I remember when he got there, and when we hired him, I tried to learn more about him. I said, this isn't just a fix in the running back room. This is a culture fix. This is something that affects the whole team, I believe. And because I do believe a lot of the guys, I think everyone on that team respects him has the utmost respect for Coach Locke, and he's a blessing to have in Columbus. Is there anything else you want to talk about on offense?
You brought up Brian Hartline earlier, and to be honest, a lot of people was worried, and you spoke on Ryan Day not having a headset on, and to see, I believe Brian Hartline was cooking. Seeing him up in the box, not on the field, and then also the goal line play with Lincoln Keenholz, right? The way he set that formation up, and then recognizing that it was man and having a man beater, because what you saw was the defense got caught up in all of the trash and all of the wash, which is how it allowed. You got the tight ends coming up and coming across. Like, that's things that you need to have, right? So Sam Williams-Dixon was able to get open for a touchdown. To be able to cook.
That was a great setup. That was a great setup.
Yeah, and honestly, it was a setup play. You also saw setup plays where the running game was getting going, right? And then boom, he does a play action pass off of that, right? So you see Brian Hartline. Like I said, this is Ryan Day's baby. He ain't just giving this to anybody. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, a lot of people put a lot of context on the first time, he was giving it. But let's go back. Maybe he just didn't want Hartline to look bad, or it's like, hey, you're going to be limited because of the quarterback that we have, right? So let me not do that to you. You know, I mean, he still had his title as OC. That was never stripped away. You know, even when Chip came. So I'm excited about what Brian Hartline can do and continue to grow. And one thing that you can see is the more reps, the more play calling he gets, him up there smiling, still having that energy. And he looks confident about himself. And I remember someone was saying, you know, in his press conference when he was talking about it, that he didn't seem so confident or whatever. And I'm like, I just think and my reaction to that was I felt that Brian Hartline was just trying not to say too much in his new role, is how I took it.
It's funny you say that, because I had that thought too in the few interviews I seen, because I'm like, when Hartline goes up there, man, it looks like he says nothing. He says nothing. But and like one last thing, because you said it, and I have it in my notes here. That tight end room is better than I thought. Like, we know what Max Clare is. Jelani looked good today. He had one drop, but that was a really good play by that was McClain. McClain had a really good play on him. But Jelani looked good today. He didn't usually we've all known his hands are the problem. He had his mittens right on it. And then a name I did not expect to see it, and I have it right here, LeBlanc. I liked the way he looked today. I was really happy to see him get in there. Was the third tight end today. So
yeah. And
I'm really happy with what I saw.
Yeah, I believe before the spring game, someone, I don't remember which beat writer it was, but they had posted Will's Kazmarek on a little scooter. Looked like his foot was in a boot. So, you know, hopefully he can have, you know, a safe recovery and get back soon. But like you said, what we saw, the receiving of this tight end room, I think is going to be tremendous in the future, man. And also what Max Clare just brings, it is just going to be very hard, right? And that's what I felt that red zone play that I was talking about. You can't forget about those tight ends. So when those tight ends look like they're coming out, you like, oh, snaps, like we got to stay. But then, boom, you forget about they got that running back too.
Exactly.
So, and then it's another play I'm thinking that you can run off of that too. I ain't gonna say it, but you know, because I see the team up north fans, you know, they
don't give out the
I ain't gonna, but man, it's a lot of things that can be worked in that, man. And I just like where the tight end room is. Now, one thing that I can say is one thing that Hartline has always done a good job of is the eyes of the receivers with their hands, right? Not letting the defenders know when your hands are going up and things like that. It allows them to not have to deal with too many contested or batted balls and things like that. You've seen Jelani get his hands on one and the defender breaks it up. Great defensive play. I'm not taking anything away from it, but I do want to see our tight ends go and work with the wide receivers on pulling that ball, catching it, and pulling it in a little bit quicker, so that way the defenders can't get their hands on the ball. You know, that's something that I do want to see Jelani work on. But the things that you talked about, seeing him get out there, like I kept saying, I was posting in the group chat, Spidey. So I like it. And then also, again, you talk about blocking. We've seen Jelani Thurman's physicality, especially closer to the end of the season, man.
Big boy, man.
I'm really excited about this tight end room because, you know, they'll come out. You got to worry about them blocking. And now you also have to worry about them catching. Like, safeties have an issue. They're going to have an issue whether we're in 11 personnel, 12 personnel, even in 13 personnel. You're going to have an issue with these tight ends.
We're going to do some of these comments real quick from everyone. Garrison or Milan take didn't look like a reach today. I know, crazy, isn't it? Crazy. Our guy Maze mad, man. I'm upset. What's going on, bro? Good to see you in here. Please stop. Please control your trolling today in the chat. This is a Buckeye day. See from Bugsy's daddy. Julian had the better day today, but Lincoln was fine. We don't need drama with Nico. No.
Hey, to everybody that's watching on Twitter, hit that retweet button, man. Hit that like button on there too.
Please do. Fishman this is what I really want to talk about here. We can get to the defense on this, but George was a great pickup. That being Logan George. When he could transfer to Ohio State, I went and watched his tape from from his last season. I think he was a freshman last season, a redshirt freshman or sophomore. And I was like, well, it looks like he has the size, and it looks like he knows what he's doing on the outside. I don't know if he's going to be some star player for us, but I think he can play. It looks like Matt Patricia and that defense, they trust him to be in there. He came with the second team today. What did you think about that?
Yeah, man, Matt P. Honestly, I think that Matt P is going to be disguising a lot of coverages, making quarterbacks think pre-snap and post-snap. And I'm gonna go ahead and give my little hot take right now. I think the Buckeyes is going to lead the country in turnovers this year. And basically, I'll say this: I think we're going to lead the country in interceptions. Boom! I put it out there. I do believe that. That's my preseason hot take right there.
I like that one.
We'll get deeper into the fall. Now, I do say this: people are talking about the D-line depth, and I do believe we would need to get someone out the portal. But we need to hit somebody's agent up. We don't need to just get anybody out the portal. We need to be hitting somebody's agent up. We done heard what Kirby Smart said. The agents, they already got the film, they selling. Just hit the agents up. It is not illegal to hit an agent up. So that's what's within the rules. I do believe that the interior of our O-line is like that. The interior of our O-line is like that, but we are going to need some D tackle depth. The edges, we might be okay, but we're going to need some depth at D tackle for sure.
I had tweeted out probably towards the end of the spring game that Jason Moore's body language annoys me. It annoys me. There was a play where he got put on his ass by just another name that I was crazy for bringing up, but Gabe Van Sickle. I was told that he wasn't that, and now that's what I was told on the brigade. But I didn't like what I saw at him. Time alone. It's one thing to be quiet. It's another thing to be quiet while I'm seeing you guys get blown back.
Yeah.
Now is part of that probably because the interior of our offensive line is just like that? Sure, maybe it is. But that was aggravating to watch. And again, does everyone have Ohio State's talent? No. Like, I understand that that's not the case. But it is imperative that we go in the portal this spring and pull some people out of there. On the edge, I have no complaints. I thought they played well today. I thought we showed depth there. I thought of all the guys that came off the edge, 11 looked good.
Really he good. Started flashing in the second half. Would rather have seen that look better, in the first half, because you're not going up against the starters then. But we will get there. I mean, here's the thing: like Hicks, he needs reps, right? Like a lot of these guys need reps. You're talking about Jack Sawyer and JTT have been taking snaps away for them for 3 years, and this is why I said it was so important. Like I said, I have been saying this since 2022. why it was so important to rotate because of these years that were coming up. You're going to have to get these guys game reps. They're going to have to experience it and grow from it. And nothing beats game reps. Yeah, like you said, here's the thing. The last time I felt like we had issues on the D line, right, with depth was 2022 as well. And that scheme of the defense we ran. What was the biggest issue in 2022?
Big plays.
With our defense?
Big plays.
Yeah, explosive plays. Given up by who?
Secondary. Because we couldn't get pressure.
How much better do you believe our secondary is now compared to then?
Leagues better.
So why not run that? Because here's the thing. You're talking about you set up Tommy Eichenberg and Steel Chambers to be All-Americans, top linebackers, all of this. And you're talking about replacing that and running that with a Arvell Reese, who I felt like we didn't really get to see much of out there. And then you're talking about a Sonny Styles. You're talking about them twitched up guys. Those quarterbacks aren't going to even have time. I think we can play man coverage as well. I'm not worried about Cam Brown out there letting somebody catch it and not making a tackle because we know he's going to make the tackle if he's not even holding. So, I mean, that I really believe we need to go ahead and get that. That's how you help out your defensive line. That's how you help them out. Obviously, we knew in the spring game that they weren't going to be blitzing and stuff, but I will say this. They weren't blitzing, but Sonny Styles, I put this in the group chat. Sonny Styles triggered like a linebacker. You're telling me if we're getting that all season long, Sonny Styles being able to read, dissect, and not triggering late, triggering when he's supposed to, and meeting that person in the hole, that's going to mean the world difference for our linebacker room and that and our run defense as well. I enjoyed watching that. So, I mean, obviously, we only got to see a little sample size because of the way Day runs the practice. You don't want your first team out there. But, I mean, if we're expecting to get that all season long, that is definitely something that I think that we all talked about us wanting to see Sonny trigger like a linebacker consistently.
During the spring game, Jake Butt. And by the way, Jake Butt's one of the best in the business. I love the way he goes about his job. But he said I think this is the most athletic linebacker unit in the nation, or room in the nation. We talk about Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles, and I know a lot of people had a lot to complain about in the defense in the first half. In the first half, saying how saying MP's defense was getting torched. I think people actually understand. Like, I want to express this or explain this. Usually in spring games, the defense has the drop on the offense. I was really amazed that the offense played that well today. And also we got to remember on the defensive side,
they're handicapped.
I mean, outside coordinators, man, we're talking like a lot of new faces, including the guy who is the signal caller. But I think Matt Patricia probably held back. I mean, of course he did the spring game, but I mean, Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese, they are going to be moving around back there during the season. They're going to be blitz. Sonny, last year we loved blitzing Sonny. That's just what it was. But I'm very confident in that. I think that the front seven eventually it'll be fun. At the end of the day, I have confidence in Edric Houston. I have confidence in McDonald. I think those two can be the anchors of the defensive tackle position. But after that, it is worrisome. Like Fishman. This has to be the last year for LJ. It's 450 game. We don't need to punt. You're right about that.
Yeah, I'm so tired of talking about like why is Day not moving LJ to analyst because it's obviously impacting recruiting. It's obviously impacting recruiting. It's impacting the depth that we have because, to be honest, right now you see Laurinaitis cooking, you see Walt cooking, you see Matt G cooking, right?
Everybody named Mama cooking and recruiting, bro.
What's the one thing we just waiting to cook? Like you're talking about we could be building something like almost like program changing, and that's just what we've been waiting on. So, I mean, I just feel like you have to get that young guy on the trail. And my thing is this, man, like I just feel like nobody has had that talk with Larry. No one has had to talk with Larry. Hey, for the betterment of the young guys that you recruited, for the betterment of this program and this team, can you not just go to analyst so we can get a young guy to recruit? Yes, you can still do your D-line thing, all of that. We just need this young guy to recruit.
I think, it's – and people forget, when you got people that are that old, man, they're stuck in their ways, man. And it's not that Larry isn't bringing in talent. He brings in talent. But he's not but when you compare it to everyone else, all right, if you're comparing sales numbers, right? And you look at everyone else in the office and everyone else has high sales numbers up in the six figures, and then here you are at $70K. Well, what's the problem?
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is for Larry. I agree with you, Mike. Analyst would be a good spot for him. Like I said, it's frustrating because our D-line coach is at Texas right now.
Yeah.
But before we continue, everybody, a quick message here from the Voice of College Football. Get your business, product, service, or personal brand to the next level by partnering with the Voice of College Football. Let's discuss how you also can reach your target market like the Win Agency. Check out their experience here on the screen right now. We are here to deliver for you. Contact us at sponsorships@vocfb.com. Again, that is sponsorships at vocfb.com today. Well, Mike, was there anything else you want to talk about? Did we go through DBs?
No, not really. We ain't really talk about the DBs, man, because a lot of you all told me that somebody was better coming out of high school than my guy Bryce West. I tried to push back on that, but y'all ain't want to listen to me about y'all ain't want to listen to me about my Cleveland boys, man. I ain't lying. How many times I gotta be right? How many times? Y'all want to listen now? Y'all want to listen now? I mean, look, I think that Aaron Scott. Listen, I think Aaron Scott is going to be good. He has some things that he still needs to work on, I believe, technique-wise. But when you talk about someone who's as able to run with wide receivers, be fluid, flip their hips the way a cornerback needs to, I just feel like it was always Bryce West, man. And I mean, like I said, just the way guys was just the way Quincy Porter just manhandled Aaron Scott, man, and he didn't respond well to that, right? Like you swing on somebody in the game because they manhandle you, that's gonna be an issue. I do like our safeties. It's just some things we're going to work on. Guys just need reps. They need reps. Aaron Scott needs reps. Devin Sanchez, they say he was decent. He's a freshman. All of these guys are going to need reps. And also, look at who they going up against, man. This ain't normal, man. But that's why I say iron sharpens iron. And here's the thing about it, right? Before we heard that they used to treat the DB room as, oh man, you're going up against Jackson Smith and Jigba. You're going up against Marv, man. You're going up against G5. What you gonna do? It is what it is. That's not how they're treating the DB room. So these guys losing in their one-on-one reps against guys and stuff like that, they're going to get coached up. And I mean, I have been saying this. I would like to move Iggy inside because the day one he stepped on Ohio State's field, when you would see him playing close to the line, or not even playing close to the line, because he would be playing behind the linebackers of Steele and Tommy. And the way he would trigger, bruh, was just different. It was different. I just feel like he would, as physical as he is, he would be great in the run game, and then just allow somebody else on the outside. Because to be honest, like I would like to see Bryce West, if I could see what I saw from him in the Tennessee game and stuff like that.
Well, turning his head around. Yeah.
It's not just that, but just how fluid he was in his hips, flipping, his back pedal, all of that. Like, it didn't look like he has to fight against his own body. It looked natural. And it's something that we really haven't seen. You know, sometimes it looked like our corners have been panicking when the ball is in the air. It's not what you see out of Bryce West. He's calm. He's collected. He knows what he's doing. You know, like people say, Bryce West is going to be a problem. I see my guy Fisherman saying Bryce West is the best corner on the team. I'm not going to go that far, but I just do believe that I understand you want guys to be versatile. I understand, you know, people are saying he's short. You don't want, you know, a 6-something guy on the inside or whatever. But I think Iggy still still this frame and size of an inside guy or whatever. And you want to talk about size? Everybody said Denzel Ward didn't have the size. Boy was still jumping out the gym with everybody, man. I'm not trying to hear it. Take the NFL stuff to the NFL. This is college. The boy can play here in college.
One of the things I love about Bryce West is that, and everything you said, Mike, there is correct about him. I don't even have much to add on to that, honestly. Well, I think what people forgot about him coming out of high school is that, you know, I thought Aaron Scott was at the time ahead of him, right, in terms of his corner skills. But I always said that Bryce West is a better athlete than him, and if you can turn the better athlete into the better player, I mean, you get the better athlete, the higher skill. Work on his skill set, work on his game, work on how his eyes, his hips, his feet at the corner position specifically. He's going to become the better player. It's like people forget Bryce West. As far as I know, I mean, Bryce West is probably the second fastest player on the team behind Devin Sanchez.
I mean, it is a requirement to run track. I mean, my two cousins, my cousin Antoine Crutcher, he played Division I football at Ohio University, and his older brother also played for Ginn Senior. Me and him had a couple matchups against each other, but he played for Ginn Senior at Glenville as well, right? It is a requirement for you to do one of two things, depending on your position. If you're on the D-line, you're either running track and wrestling. Yeah, my cousin had to run. He had no choice. He had to run track and he had to do wrestling. My other cousin, he was an offensive lineman. He had to do wrestling. Non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable. Like, I mean, that it's a different mentality. The one thing that Ginn has always wanted his guys to do is you're going to compete. You have to compete and keep that competitive fire within you. So,
well, shoot. Well, while we have some time here, I'm going to bring up our guy David here, Dr. Buckeye.
Yeah.
How are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm excited, guys. By the way, great show. Good to see you last night, Garrison, on Mark's show. Wanted to comment. I put a comment in the chat about the quarterback situation. Wanted to get you guys' thoughts. You know, it's interesting. I always look back at some of the Buckeye quarterback competitions in the past, and I always thought kind of we knew who the quarterback was going to be. Like even Burrow Haskins, I think we always knew it was going to be Haskins off of what happened the previous year. Although I think it was unfortunate what happened with Joe's injury. You know what I mean? But, you know, I think what Dwayne did in the game the year before solidified him getting that job. Although if you look back on it, Joe played great in that spring game in 2018, by the way, I must say. Cardell and JT after the title game. We can get into that too. I even thought Devin Brown and Kyle McCord a couple years ago was kind of close, and probably turned out to be closer than maybe we thought it was. But this year, I really, as I put in the comments, I think this is Julian's job to lose. I do. I like the arm talent. I think most people see the upside there. I must say, I think I was listening to somebody from Bucknuts that had made this point. Lincoln does not look like the deer in the headlights quarterback we saw, in that Cotton Bowl game, though. I must say. I mean, shout out to showing some growth and getting better and, developing, because that's not the same quarterback. We do have to give him credit for that much. I also do like the mobility factor. I want to get your guys' thoughts on what I just mentioned, and also, do you think that Lincoln though might offer a different thing as far as mobility, or is that just now that Ryan Day's our coach, that mobility is not the biggest factor with quarterback like it used to be? I don't know what you guys think of that, but
I believe mobility is definitely going to still be a factor, and I said from the beginning, if Julian Sand is the quarterback, you still want Lincoln to be here and be your number 2. And I believe that he could kind of be that Bo Beulah for us, what Penn State had.
Okay.
That's, I could definitely see that, right?
Right.
The mobility. But also, I saw mobility in TSC as well. He doesn't look scared to step up in the pocket. Boom, he stepped up in the pocket one time, keeping his eyes downfield. The Red Sea parted. Boom, he takes off. Another thing, the coaches weren't really allowing us to see the athleticism, I believe, from Julian and Lincoln, like their legs, because it was like once they got out the pocket and got back to the line of scrimmage, they were already blowing the play dead.
I thought not Sinclair. Lincoln had one. They let him go a little loose once.
Yeah, I ain't really. Like I said, I'm not counting it. I'm not counting any of it.
No one's headhunting.
But I will say this: the one thing that I wanted to see, that I talked about on this on our show on Wednesday, make sure you check us out, was that I wanted to see Julian Sand come out here and not be nervous. If you remember last year's spring game, he looked nervous. I believe I could see his hands were shaking when he was at the line. I did not see that. And then also at the end of the game, seeing Julian Sand was showing leadership, coaching guys up, getting guys in the right spot. That's something that you want to see. And we heard about last year, Will Howard, right? We heard Will Howard was having issues, the same kind of what we was having. We was hearing about Julian. He's having a little issues or whatever, but it's always when they're not as confident, right? I want them to go ahead, build on this, get confident, and take this into the summer and into fall camp like Will Howard did. If a guy can do that, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I personally I agree with Mike. We didn't really see the mobility. I did think last year Julian had a really good run. I forgot what game it was. We had a really good run. Like I was like, okay, Julian can actually move down the field if need be with his legs. But I do. Think about it when we had Justin Fields. We didn't run him as much as we could. Like when he got to the NFL and almost broke all those rushing records, I was like, wait, he can do that. So I think that. See, I think
Garrison,
Ryan Davis played him hurt.
Yeah, but Garrison, I was just going to say, what was CJ's greatest game, though? He showed off his legs against Georgia, though. What were we saying as fans, though, for a long period of time about CJ? Is what if CJ would just run for a little bit? If on a 3rd and 6 or a 3rd and 7, what if he, would run for 7 or 8 yards to at least get the first down? You know what I mean? Because we knew he had mobility. He's obviously not like a Braxton or some of these guys we've had in the past, but we knew that he was mobile enough to get outside the structure, and we knew that he was mobile enough to get, 7 yards on a 3rd and 6 if necessary. I always thought that was a big thing for him in that game, that he utilized his legs. You know what I mean? And,
That's because that was the one time that Ryan Day took the leash off the collar. The one time. And like a lot of, like you said, we knew that CJ Stroud, if anybody followed CJ Stroud, looked at his highlights, looked at his basketball highlight, followed
His
him in
first
high school,
touchdown.
you knew he was an athletic. Like you said, his first touchdown in a Buckeye uniform. You knew the guy was an athlete, you knew that he had the
Right.
capability of extending plays, running for those first downs. But Ryan Day, a lot of people didn't pay attention when Ryan Day was sitting on stage the day before the draft and they was asking him, the same thing you were talking about. We see CJ Stroud and, his mobility in the Georgia game. And Ryan Day's words were, we felt like if CJ had a ran around and got hurt, it would have changed the trajectory of our season. Shout out my guy Seaball, because when he heard that, he said, what does that say about the guy that was behind him?
Yeah, that's right. That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you guys? I mean, running backs. Do you see like a carry distribution? We always talk about that because obviously a lot of years we go in with multiple good backs, which is what we do. Do you guys see? How do you guys see a carry distribution this year? I guess is the long and short of what I'm saying. I mean, I like Peoples a lot. I like what I saw from him last year. A lot of that was mop up duty and end of games that we had under control where Quinchon and Trey were out of the game, and he could kind of come in when the game was pretty much out of hand. But obviously I like what I saw. Do you see him 75-80% of the carries, or do you see a more even distribution this year? What do you think?
Mike, you gave your hot take earlier, and I'll give you mine. I don't
Okay.
think I don't think there's a running back during the regular season. I don't think any of the running backs go over 15 carries in a game. I don't think any of them do. Last year, between J.K. Dobbins, between Travion and Judkins last year, during the regular season, Judkins had the most carries in a game at 17, and Travion hadn't even hit 15 last season. I think that I think this is a season where you're gonna. I think this will be a season where you see a lot of guys touch that rock, and I think it's because we don't need a bell, and I don't think any of these. I don't think anyone right now, as we're speaking, is Judkins or Travion, where you can just take these two guys and let them go, take it out there and roll with it. I think we saw a lot out of Bo Jackson. I think it's Mike was right. I was wrong. I think Bo Jackson is going to be impossible to keep off the field along with some other freshmen. Yeah. I think Sam Williams-Dixon showed his value in being able to be a tough running back. I think you can see him this season. And then when it comes to C.J. Donaldson and Peoples, those guys, I mean, those are going to be the two starters. But I think,
And I'll say this: your reps are going to be the way Ryan Day has always been. Your reps are going to be divvied up based on your ability to pass protect.
Yep.
That's what it's going to be. Like Garrison was saying earlier in the show, we didn't really see that much of it to be able to. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch like a lot of stuff. This is our quick live reaction. It was so much, trying to watch every position, but that's how it's always been, right? Who is going to be able to go out there? I remember our guy Cam from Best Damn Media. He was saying he wanted to see Dallin Hayden a whole lot more, right?
Yeah.
But the stuff that we were hearing was he was having issues picking up protection and blocking and things like that. So, I think that you're going to have Peoples, right here on the screen, Daniel said Peoples is going to be your running back one, right?
Okay.
And then the rest is going to be by committee.
Okay.
So, certain packages, you'll have this person out there, another package. But I think that Bo Jackson can do it all, man. I mean, I don't think that there's anything that kid can't do.
I'm just wondering if it's going to be a little bit more like last year, maybe like a Pittman Wells combination, 06, even like a J.K. Weber combination, 17 and 18, where it's going to be a little bit more evenly, distributed is what I'm wondering. You know what I mean? You guys have seen it, All right, what do you think of the offense this year, guys? I mean, do you think that? I mean, obviously, we got new offensive coaches. Is this? I always say this. And my buddy Chuck was talking about this the other day. That Ryan Day has always gotten that label as being too pass happy. You know what I mean? And I think that, and he was backing it up with some stats to show that that's not always the case. You know what I mean? That our offenses have been a little bit more well balanced than people think they might be. Now, I will say, even though he gave out the stats, we have trended up that much more to the pass after his first year, after 19, which I always thought that 19 had the most ideal balance we could ever have on a roster. I mean, to be honest with you, to have Justin throw. Well, I always said, Garrison, the 22 offense, had JSN not gotten hurt and Trey not gotten hurt, would have been the best offense ever. Because if you put JSN, Marv, Emeka on the same field with CJ throwing the rock and Trey running the ball, come on now.
David, you're depressing me right now, David.
Well, I mean,
the JS injury hurt that whole season. I think that we could have survived that entire season if JSN had to stay healthy. I think even in the Georgia game we could have survived that game if JSN was able to stay healthy. But like you said, I think it's from the beginning I've said it's going to be a running back by committee room. And speaking on Ryan Day, I think Ryan Day's issue is this. Sometimes in games, he wants to run the ball to open up the pass. And I think one thing in 2019 that he was so good at was he was able to the reason why he was balanced is he used the passing game to open up the running game. Yeah. I mean, because that was the biggest thing. You were scared of our passing game in 2019. You were scared of the mesh concept. You were scared of the crossers, all of that. Right. You were definitely scared of the talent that we had. So, and also you talk about when you track like what happened in 2020, right? Yeah. Offensive line wasn't even as the same. You had Trey Sermon, Master T. Sermon didn't really come on till later on in the season. Again, 2021, this is where I had tried to tell people, I'm like, that Coach Stud, like he was in and out of the hospital, not really being able to like recruit the guys that we needed. That's when you kind of saw some issues with the offensive line and not having the athletic guys that we were used to and not being able to run some of the stretch and things like we needed to, because you had some guys who just had cement on their feet.
It's crazy. You bring up that point. People always complained about like Fry in his offensive line coaching. People forget that people came down on Stud pretty bad at the end. You know what I mean? Of his tenure as the O-line coach. And you're right about the recruiting. I think his last class, I think he missed on a few in-state guys. What Wagner went to Notre Dame, Miller went to Clemson, and I think Bear went to Pitt. There were 3 in-state guys that we didn't get that year. And Wagner's actually developed into a decent player up at Notre Dame. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing. I try not to hold it over Stud too bad because of, him being – a lot of people didn't know that he was in and out of the hospital.
I didn't know that.
Dealing with some stuff. So it's hard for you to get on the trail. It's hard for you to, when he first got here, he was active with the guys, right? He wasn't as active and hands-on with the guys. And then you start seeing, Fry's development was really good. He was hands-on with the guys a lot, right? It's different. You see that same thing with Larry Johnson, hands-on. Most of the coaches that are hands-on, your players, your development is a lot better. And that's just something that Coach Stud wasn't able to do on the back end of his career.
Right.
I do want to say this real quick on the offense.
Go ahead.
Because to answer one of your questions.
Yep.
I think this offense is going to whatever you saw in 22. That's what I think it's going to look similar to that.
Okay.
I think that I've always been of the mindset that if Ryan Day knows he can throw the ball, he will throw the ball. And
Right.
as a Buck, and like a lot of Buckeye fans have always wanted to, run the ball more, David. But me personally, I've always said, listen, I don't care, just get it done. And that's what he's really good at. He's really good at calling passing plays, really good at scheming it up. And so I look around what we have on offense. I look at Jeremiah. I see Carnell. I see Brandon Innes. I see Mylan Graham. I see
Yep.
Quincy Porter. I see Max Clare. Max Clare. And then on top of that, like it's getting lost in all this in the spring game. I've always been confident about this offensive line. Mike has too. I love the way Mike talks about this offensive line. He calls it athletic, which I believe
Right.
so also. And like we were talking earlier, I said they put their bodies where they had to be. I think you do that if you're athletic. I think this is all right. Here's another little hot take for you guys.
Go ahead.
40 plus passing touchdowns for Sand.
Wow. Calling it.
I think he's going crazy. I think he's going
Okay.
crazy.
Okay.
I think over the last, you'll probably see. I mean, last year, I believe in the regular season, Will Howard got sacked 13 or 14 times. I think it's gonna be less than that.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if both of our running backs are average over 6 yards a carry. I think this is going to be one of Ryan Day's better offenses. And again, it can take a few weeks because at the end of the day, this is a spring game. These guys aren't trying to take your head off.
Right.
And this is it's only 15 practices against a scheme or a defensive scheme that you see every day in practice, and then your teammates. It's
Right.
gonna be much different when you gotta go. You gotta play Texas, and it's something much different. And guys have more ill intent. But I am of the mindset that this offense is going to be very damn good.
Well, I think that. By the way, how come we never get to warm up game before Texas? I remember back in the 2000s we played, and we always got the warm up game first. We get the MAC game first. Like 05, 06, we got to play the warm up game. Usually, like when we played Oklahoma in 16 and 17, the Baker Mayfield years, we had the warm up game, or two before we got to that game, and it's usually like the second or third game of the year. Although I think your guy pointed out to me, Garrison, that I guess we did open up with Notre Dame to start the 22 season.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But that would help. I'm kind of with you. I think this is a team, bottom line, that I'm hoping peaks by the end of the year for obvious reasons.
Bingo.
If we take a lump early in the season, obviously we know we're living in a 12-team playoff world. We can right the ship. We can get going. We hit our stride mid-season. Late November, we're playing our best football, gentlemen, and going into a certain game. I think we all know what we're talking about here, guys. And we get that right, and we take that momentum, obviously into the playoffs.
Yeah, I would say I'm not really worried about the Texas game. We could lose that game. But I also think that we could win it. And I talked to Garrison, I believe, off air a couple times, and told him flat out, I really believe, simple fact that if we lose this game, it's going to be because our quarterback just looked like a first-time starting quarterback out there. That's honestly what I believe. A lot of people want to talk about what we lost, our 15 draft picks. We lost a lot of talent. A lot of experience. But we do have a lot of talent on this roster. I do believe the secondary is probably going to be more talented than we've been in a while. I think the linebacker room.
No, Mike, I said the back seven. The back seven of the defense.
It's a lot of talent. And then here's another thing that a lot of people don't want to talk about. These guys got a lot of reps. I know that we're talking about our defensive line, but I've seen our second string defensive line. The issue is consistency with them. We know they have the talent. The issue is consistency because don't act like you ain't seen Edric Houston or K-Mac or Kenyatta Jackson not put hands on Texas, offensive line, which is headed to the NFL now. So now they have a new O-line that they have to build, so – and like you said, this team is young. Think about in 2014, right? Team was young.
Right.
Team made some young mistakes. But as the season went on, they learned, they grew, they built, right? And they were playing some of their best ball at the end of the season. And that's what I am hoping for this team as well.
Well, yeah, because if you look at, like I always said, Ohio State national titles usually came ahead of the game. It actually goes all the way back to the late 60s. Woody won a national title ahead of the game in 1968 with sophomores. Even Tress in 02 was probably a year ahead of the game before he, because they had a lot of people back in 03. Yep. Obviously we were a year ahead of the game in 14 because the 15 team, which I still think might be the most overall talented roster I've ever seen at Ohio State as far as just pure depth of talent. As far as I've never seen a roster with more NFL draft picks on it than the 15 roster. If you ever go back and take a look at it, guys, it's ridiculous. But I mean,
didn't they break the record? They broke Miami's record with the most picks in the first two rounds. I
believe so.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, what did they have, 5 or 6 first-round draft picks on that team? I know I still think the 05 roster, which was the best roster of the Tressel era, I think had like 5 or 6 first-round draft picks on that team. Holmes and Ginn and AJ Hawk and all those guys, Dante Whitner. They had a ton of talent on that team. Troy Smith, that was a Troy Smith team. By the way, hey, Mike, you said Cleveland. I'm going to give a shout out to my dude, Chris Drew. We need more Akron guys up in there, too. Let's get some Beanie Wells. Let's get some Antonio Pittmans. Let's get some Antoine Winfields. Come on, man. You know that. Come on now.
Know. They ain't doing the Akron guys like they used to, man. I don't know. Since LeBron. Let me stop. I'm just joking, man. No, I love my guy, Chris, man. And I love the Ohio guys. I love Midwest guys. I love the mentality that we bring, man. I love it. But I do have, obviously, I'm biased about Cleveland because, and it's because of the guys who I've played. Like, I've played guys. I played guys who I known had talent, but they weren't getting the exposure because, Glenville did a good job of helping guys get their highlight tapes out, taking guys to different camps and stuff like that, man. It's a lot of public schools in Cleveland or schools in Cleveland that weren't doing that. And now it's amazing to start seeing you have those coaches that are helping these kids out that are doing that. These inner city kids, man, because like I said, it's a lot of untapped talent out there. And that team up north knows. Shoot, they came in and got a great one out of Cleveland. So
hey, Mike, they couldn't be Northwestern if they never got Ohio players back in the day. Come on now,
big facts. You ain't lying.
Come on now.
Their whole program, whole culture, and everything is built on Ohio. So if it wasn't for Ohio, there would be no team up north.
Right. Yeah. Hey, they won 2 Heismans. Where'd they come from, Mike? Seriously, Yeah, by the way, I saw Tress had a nice podcast with Ginn Sr., had him on his show. They had a real nice conversation. I know they're very close. And it's good to see him back. His health got right, and he's doing great things with that program again. It's going to be a pipeline again, Mike. I think. Do a great job.
Yeah, my dad graduated from the Ville, man, and but my parents would not let me go to Glenville.
Oh, okay.
if you know about Claire, then my parents wasn't having it, man.
a lot of ballers though, Mike. A lot of ballers.
Oh, for sure,
in different ways.
For sure, but if you heard the stories, I think we had like Troy Smith in the space, man. And he was just talking about it, how he was. I was kind of the same way. Like, I didn't back down for nobody. And, if you talk, I talk back with you. Like, I say what I had to say. Or if you was trying to go there, I was trying to go there too. But, I think Troy had talked about, like, he had no idea who this guy was, And Ted Ginn, he had no idea that Ted Ginn Sr. had ended up stopping this guy from doing whatever he was wanting to do against Troy. So, it is, Cleveland, Eastside Cleveland can, have its negative impacts. But when you're seeing the people who have went through that adversity, like the Cardell Jones, it's a reason why they have that extra fight in them because of the different adversities that they have went through.
They got that dog, Mike. They got that dog. Hey, great job with the show, guys. Garrison, I'm going to get back with you soon. Mike, you do a good job too, man. Shout out. As always, gentlemen, OH.
Io.
Take care.
Thank you, David. Mike, you said you got to head out here soon.
Yeah, man. You know, I got the kiddos, man.
Yeah.
We got to go ahead and get out of here. I appreciate you all. Make sure that y'all are tuning in. We got Buckeye Brigade every other Tuesday. So make sure you checking that out. The world famous Buckeye Show every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you're checking that out. And also, if you're not subscribed to this channel and you ain't hit that notification bell, why not? It costs you nothing. If you don't like it, you can always change it, man. But we appreciate you and all the people, man. I see we got like 300, 400 people watching on Twitter. Please hit that retweet button and that like button. We appreciate you all with that amount, man. Appreciate you, Garrison.
I appreciate you, man. All right. We're bringing up my guy Tyler here before we head out of here. Tyler, my boy, how you doing? Are you get a haircut?
Yeah, I got a haircut.
I like it, man. I was like, what's that? Is that him?
Yeah, Garrison, it's hot down here in North Carolina.
It's not bad. Like it's not bad in Michigan right now. The sun's out, no clouds in the sky, and it's a nice Midwest 60.
Yep, it's
like burning hot.
70
It's like
down
burning
here.
hot for me. See, I don't do that southern heat. What's up, man? What'd you think about today's spring game?
Garrison, I think that we're gonna have the most dominant offensive line that we've seen in a long time.
I'm with you. I fully agree with you. I think it's gonna be Ryan Day's best offensive line. When you move from the left to the right, you're talking Onyanwa. At first, coming from Rice, I thought there might be a little transition period, but he lost the weight. He's more athletic, like Mike says. He looks good. Luke Montgomery at the left guard. I've been a fan of Luke Montgomery since he came out of high school because I've always told people like I truly believe there's something special about a kid like him who lives and breathes and drinks Ohio State scarlet and gray. He comes here to be an offensive lineman, and he's a highly rated guy. You go Carson Hinsman, who has all the experience in the world at center. You're talking. I thought Tegra played good today. He didn't look stupid out there.
I didn't see him much. I wasn't paying attention to him.
I wasn't either. And then Sarabeld. It looks like he's gonna be a starter, man. I agree with you. I think they're gonna be very good this season. It's definitely gonna be Ryan Day's best offensive line. I think probably since 2019.
And you guys were mentioning about the defensive line too, and I'm like, so here's my opinion on it. It's not gonna look like the defensive line's not gonna look the same as it's been. I think that the defensive line is gonna be much more how it looked in 2017, how it looked like with Logan George. I think he looks like a Sam Hubbard to me. He was dominant today.
So do you? Probably about a month ago, Ryan and I were talking on the primetime show, and I told him right away. I said I think Logan George is going to be have contributions to this. He's going to be a contributor to this team. He didn't. Yes. He didn't agree with me. He didn't see it, and I'm happy to see that. Like he came in. Clearly, he's put the work in. Clearly, the coaches in his team respect him, and he goes out there. He makes plays. He was like a Sam Hubbard type of player. I'll tell you another guy that reminds me of Sam Hubbard, and he's an older guy. He's a senior now, but like Caden Curry, he's a motor guy.
Oh yeah,
never gonna stop it. And you know what's funny about how people forget Sam Hubbard was a first round defensive lineman from Ohio State. People forget that.
Yep.
That on the at defensive tackle I'm worried, but that at the edge position, I think there's so many guys. I didn't really see a lot. I'm not sure if he played today or not. Joshua Mickens, I didn't look for him really.
I didn't see him that much.
Yeah, but I do believe we have dudes at this spot. I don't think we have any Jags there, like a Jason Moore. But then again,
how do you think he performed today?
lackluster. Hated his body language. Didn't like anything about. I can sit here and tell you right now, I didn't like a percentage of I didn't like a fraction of a percentage of anything he did today. That
That's
says a
fair.
lot. I just like Ty Malone. At least I didn't see him get blown on his ass, like push off on his ass. And by the way, like Gabe Van Sickle, who I'm a fan of. He's from West Michigan, like me. I got a chance to read a lot about him covering because I cover high school football up here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where he's from. He's at Coopersville, but I mean, yeah, was it cool seeing him blow Jason Moore off the line like that? Yeah. At the same time, though,
You
Jason,
don't
you
want
gotta
that.
come back and do something. You gotta come back and do something else. Like when Aaron Scott um he broke up that pass. I'm sorry, when Myron Graham got that touchdown on Aaron Scott. Aaron Scott came up the next time, broke up the touchdown on him. Like come back and do something, man. And I saw no fight out of him. It sucks because guys like Hero Kanu are not here, who would have definitely been guys on this team. Definitely been a really good player for us. So yeah,
But I got a
is
question though. Do you think that was also because we were running too many? We weren't running any stunts. We weren't blitzing. We weren't doing. We were just being a very, very, very vanilla. So I can't really say that we were. I can't really think that we were that far off on defensive line. I really think that we're really good on defensive line. We just had. We're not showing anything because we don't want Texas to see what we're going to be scheming up on them.
Yeah, and you know what?
So,
I'm happy. Oh, go ahead. Finish.
So, because I saw at the end of the game, we were running stunts a little bit, and we were getting pressure. So, I don't know if that's because we were mixing in the second string offensive line. I don't know if it was just that Tavian was stepping up in the pocket, and because I saw him stepping up in the pocket more, and they were counting that as sacks. And I'm like, I don't know if it's he's just the defensive line is now starting to get pressure, or we're
Yeah.
just
It did
so.
look. It did look like Matt Patricia cooked up a little bit more of the play calling in the second half, which I was happy to see. But I did want to add on to what you said about like 'cause I'm assuming you're saying that you don't think the D line played all that bad because it was vanilla, right? And I do want to get
Yes.
there's credence to that, and that's why I said it has more so to do with like when I was talking about Jason Moore, his body language. Because I typed right here. Cause like at halftime, we're in Ron's face, and I wrote something about how the D line sucked. I typed D line doesn't suck. Sam getting ball off quick. O line has jettled faster than I thought. Like that. That's really what happened. And I think
Yeah.
people have to. A lot of people have to understand. Like yeah, Walt's back. Laird Nice is back. Guerrieri is back. LJ is back. But a lot of new personnel on that defense. Even though we did bring important cogs at every level, from safety to corner to linebacker to D line, at least one cog, and then you're talking about there's a new play caller. Everything has this. This is also a spring game for Matt Patricia.
Yes.
And so and also people can watch it. Just a reminder for any other fan base in America, you don't have damn near anything that Ohio State has on offense, and it's not even close.
Especially Michigan.
Oh no, especially them. But, bro, like listen, I saw I saw something. I think it's really funny when like I saw Moose. I love you, man, but when people say 8-4, 9-3, you have to assume that these other teams are able to outscore Ohio State.
Yeah. You can't.
Because there's a really good chance. I'll give you an example, just for anyone in the chat. In 2021, that was the second worst defense in Ohio State history in the modern era. Number one being 2018. Now, why did those two teams not have 3-4 losses with bad defenses? Oh, you can't score with us. At the end of the day, the name of the game is get the ball in the end zone. And over the last 25, over the last 10 years, let's call it, No one's been forget that. Since Ryan Day has gotten to Ohio State, no one's been better than Ohio State. So again, if you think the Big Ten schools, Big Ten programs are going to go out there and outscore Ohio State, also the people are like again, people say Ohio State's going to lose to Texas. You can't name a damn player on Texas' team outside of Arch Manning. So how can I even listen to you saying Ohio State's going to lose that game?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm not worried about this team right now. Again, I don't want to take too much out of it because it's a spring game, and you want to talk about the quarterbacks. I don't want to take too much from it because guys are headhunting you.
Mm-hmm.
No one's coming to knock your block off. But I do believe this team showed they said they're learning. I did like that Taman St. Clair while the game went on that he
Mm-hmm.
showed development through the spring game. I didn't think. I mean, Lincoln didn't play bad. I think he had one bad throw. Listen, I don't know how you airmail a ball to Jeremiah, but he found a way to do it.
I thought he did it twice.
Oh, well, yeah, that's. I don't know how you do that because Ryan Day's always told Will Howard when it comes to Jeremiah, the shoulders up, the helmet up. That's where you throw it. But he threw it from the up to the sky. But yeah, I mean, what did you think about Mylan Graham and Mylan Graham and Quincy Porter?
I thought Mylan did well today. I really did. I think that, but I don't know because Aaron Scott kept falling down, and I'm a huge Aaron Scott guy.
I think that's because of Mylan.
So, now also he's not going to face that same caliber of a corner against that he does in practice. So honestly, I thought Mylan did fantastic today, and Quincy, I think he did fantastic too. And because one thing I really wanted to see was can the receivers block again? Because one thing I love is seeing a receiver put somebody on their behind. So
I thought they did well blocking today. I did. There was a few runs out there. Like CJ Donaldson had some bursts today, and that was up the middle. But I thought the running backs did well today. I thought the wide receivers blocked well. Hey, no block, no rock. Even Jeremiah knows that.
So, because I played receiver myself, Garrison, and one thing I took pride in was blocking. Is you got if you want to get them, like you said, you want to get the rock, you gotta be able to block. It's you gotta help out your team, and you got to be unselfish. So, and Quincy laid a perfect block, open field, to get Max LeBlanc more yardage. That's football is all about yardage. The more yardage you get, the more chance you're going to score touchdowns.
I was happy with what I saw today. Again, I try not to like take too much in spring games, but I do believe there are things that you can watch that tell you a lot. Like I was happy, like we were talking earlier. I was happy that Ryan Day didn't have the headset on all day. He didn't.
Absolutely.
Were you listening? Were you listening earlier when we were talking about that?
No, I tuned in late.
Okay, I told I told Mike so have you ever seen 300?
Yeah, I have seen 300. Yes.
Okay, and you remember early in the movie when Leonidas as a young boy had to get thrown to the wilderness and to the wolves? That's what I thought Ryan Day did with Brian. I thought BH did a great job today. He had that setup play that for Sam Williams-Dixon into the end zone on the pass.
I really like that play call because it.
Oh yeah.
Lincoln read the backside and saw that he had Sam Williams-Dixon wide open, and he read the progression properly, and he found the wide open guy. Touchdown. Football's all about getting your guys into open space. If you get your players into open space, you will win. It's all about space.
I gonna say it better myself, brother. You got anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah, I got one more thing.
Go, let's hear it.
I think we still have probably one of the best defenses in college football. Again,
I do too. Earlier, one of Mike's hot takes that he thinks we're going to lead the nation in interceptions. I wouldn't be surprised on that either because I thought that the secondary played really well. I thought it was interesting seeing Malik Harper come out with the ones with Caleb Downs because Jalen McClain's more of the coverage guy, and Malik Harper's more of the hitter like Caleb Downs. And I
you know what?
think
I'm glad you brought up Jalen McClain because he had a clean shot on Bo Jackson, and Bo Jackson broke that tackle. I was like,
yeah.
Jalen, like I know that's Bo, but you had a wide open shot at him,
And I'll tell you
and you
what.
whipped on that tackle.
I'll tell you what, man. If that's me, and I see that freshman right there, I'm taking that hit.
Yeah,
I'm taking the hit of the freshman. Like I don't. Well, we joke with Aaron Scott like getting burnt by Quincy. I was happy that Aaron Scott hit the freshman.
yeah.
Just give a reminder, you know. But and I like the fight, but heck, on that touchdown to Max Clare, I thought Malik held up. I said, "Oh, if that's that teammate, he probably lays him out right there." But it was still a good throw and catch by Julian to Max. But yeah, man, I think the defense is D tackle's gonna we're gonna have to find a way to shore up that D line whenever Edric Houston and McDonald are not in the game. But I do believe we have the horses to be real. Like I think our linebacker unit is gonna be. I think our linebacker unit is gonna be top 5 in the nation. I think our D line
I
will
think
be
it's going to be the
top.
best in the nation.
There's a chance it could be. There's a really good chance it could be. A very good chance. I think our D line will be one of the top 10 in the nation, and I think our secondary is probably going to be the best in the nation. So, yeah, and Matt Patricia. Everyone wants to joke about it. I can give a damn about a hurt Lions fan. Matt Patricia, at the end of the day, has 3 Super Bowl rings as a defensive coordinator in the NFL.
Yep.
I trust him.
Because all I care about is did you bring home and did you bring home a ring? Did you get a ring? I don't care how you did it, you got a ring. So guess what? He got 2 Super Bowl rings as defensive coordinator. So guess what? That gives me all the proof I need. If he can't get the job done, I don't know what to tell you at that point. That's like telling me
Yeah.
that's like I don't know what to tell you at that point. That
Mm-hmm.
and you know what? I'm glad you also mentioned that too. Who was the scapegoat this year? Because you know there's always going to be a scapegoat for everyone
Who?
they complain about, and because
I'll tell you who it is. LJ.
really,
I think the only way you beat this Ohio State team, well, and I'll tell you why, because this is what's going to come down to. It's going to come at the end of the day. It's going to come down to it's the last week and the last Saturday in November. It's going to come down to that.
yeah.
In my personal opinion, I do think that team up north is going to have a good running game this year. I do think that Jordan Marshall is going to be one of the better running backs in the nation. I do believe that him combined with Justice Haynes, who I don't think is as good as Marshall, will be one of the.
I don't think he's good.
Yeah, like there's a reason why a lot of us Buckeye fans were pissed when we didn't get Marshall. Like, there's a reason for that. So, but I think it'll be one of the better running back duos in the nation. And I do think their offensive line is going to be better than what they had last year. Like they have Andrew Sprague, who I think is going to be a really good player. Giovanni El Hadi last year, he didn't play that well. I thought he was going to be very good, but this year, he comes back second year starting. He should be pretty good. Evan Ling, maybe he makes a jump for them. Like they'll have a good O line, but the only way you're going to beat this Ohio State team is if you run the ball down our throats and you keep us offense off the field. And the only team that I think is going to put that much of an emphasis on it outside maybe Penn State would be them.
Because you have to force them out of it.
Yeah. So if that game when that game comes up and they're able to run the ball on us because our D line, specifically our D tackle depth, can't hold up because if you're on the field, you're going to get tired. And McDonald and Edric are big boys, and they got to come off the field, and you got to bring in Tom Maloney, you got to bring in Jason Moore. Yeah, LJ will be the scapegoat, and rightfully so.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Who do you think would be? Who do you think?
Because everyone's already throwing Matt Patricia under the bus, which I don't know why. And do you know who it is? It is Matt Patricia because everyone's already throwing him under the bus and making him seem like that
Yeah,
he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm like, so Larry Johnson's already got 2 national championship rings with us.
he does. I forget that he's been there. He's been there for a while, man.
So and like everyone's already seen that he's been successful. So Larry, no, Chris Carter, he hasn't, and he's going to be another scapegoat for everyone because they think that he can't coach for whatever reason, and Malcolm Butler because they think that he can't coach. I'm like, bro, these guys are.
They're
Chris
professionals.
Carter is a Hall of Famer, and Malcolm Butler is a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
Yes.
So all these guys that have not won a ring here, they're going to deem them as the scapegoats, like Tyler Bowen, another one, because they
Hell
think
yeah.
that Garrison, I seriously
I
think,
think recruiting might save Tyler Bowen from getting scapegoated
yeah,
because he's a damn good recruiter. But no, but I that the Matt Patricia that's because he's already behind the 8 ball because of what people not within the Woody. I think most of the fan base is happy with having him, but outside and then from the outside voices, I can see that how that could become the scapegoat.
because everyone
Yeah,
has that perception that he thinks everyone has that perception of him thinking that he's a terrible person. Like, I'm so honestly, I think they're all the scapegoats because they think that they have not won anything here personally. So they just like, okay, Ryan Day, he won something. Ryan Hartline, you won a ring. So until you win a ring, it don't matter.
it don't. I mean, and that's why I love. I like the team's mentality. They took down anything that had anything within the they took down that championship stuff. They took it down. Of course, the trophy's gonna be in there, but they took it all down because there's no reason to have it. I was listening to uh uh, Jermaine Matthews, and Jermaine Matthews was a big part of winning that championship against Texas when Burke was out. That was Jermaine's game.
Yep.
But he said, but even after that, Jermaine Matthews said, us younger guys haven't done anything. And I
You
love to
haven't.
I love to hear that, man. I really do. And
They're
it's we're
hungry.
a few months away. We're a few months away, man. We're a few months away.
They're not complacent. They're not complacent.
Yep.
Complacency kills. Complacency kills Garrison.
It does. I actually Sage was in here a few last week. He had this really good quote. He said, "You sweat. You sweat. I think he said you sweat in practice so that you don't bleed in war." I really I think this team's gonna be ready when the time comes. And when I mean when the time comes, I mean when the time comes. But because we don't have those sissy rules in the Big Ten. So
Nope.
shoot, my man Tyler, you got anything else before we get going, brother?
No, Garrison. That's all I got to say.
Shoot, man, I appreciate you calling. I'm happy you got in here. I was like, man, I was like maybe maybe a few people at the bar or something right now. But man, I'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right.
I'm sure I'll talk to you on X soon today.
Yeah.
All right, peace, man. Have a good day.
All right. Peace.
Well, everybody, we're gonna get going here again. I just want to thank everyone for coming in here, talking the spring game with us. Again, before I get going, I do want to give a shout out to all of our members. Thanks to Doreen, Blue Wolverine, When Stars Align, Bootzilla, Jordan Kapler, Grizz, Robert Howard, Jam OSU, Philip Buford, Doug Shepard Sr., and John Bruce Ferguson. We thank you guys for being part of the community. Again, everyone, please like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to take any of the other perks that come with it. You can press the join button for one of the memberships that coming towards the season. We'll be having a lot of content throughout the network coming out here on the channel for the Ohio State, the Voice of College Football. If you have any other family members that are not Buckeyes, and I don't know, maybe they're Wolverine fans. I live in the state of Michigan. I got a lot of those family members. Maybe they're a North Carolina fan. Maybe they're a Texas fan. Make sure to have them check out the platforms that we have here at the network. And again, and as always, OHIO.